Hello, this is David from DN Cognitive Counseling. Today I want to talk about something that was very disturbing to me. The interview by Barbra, who talked about what happened at Michael Jackson and the Neverland Ranch. For those of you who have seen my video on Michael Jackson, I don't take a position on whether or not Michael Jackson did what he's accused of or not, only because I do not know, and nor do I think there's enough evidence for me to know one way or the other. On the other hand, I find that people rush to judgments, and based upon their rushing to judgment, have different points of view, and again, with a very strong vehemence. But what Barbra said and did was incredibly hurtful, not to anybody only with Michael Jackson, but any victim of sexual assault. And I think it's very important that we understand and break down certain myths that a lot of people carry who have been assaulted by people who they didn't want to be. So let's just open up. When she says that she believes that both of the boys were sexually assaulted at the ranch. But although she believes that they were assaulted, her statement is his sexual needs, Michael Jackson, were his sexual needs coming from whatever childhood he has or whatever DNA he has. I understand that we live in a world where people feel that if there's a reason why somebody does something, there's an excuse. But that's not reality, and that's not how we should do things. We don't teach children that at all, and that would be unhealthy. Whether somebody has a propensity for addiction, a genetic propensity for addiction, or they were learned or taught to be an addict through in their environment, we don't say, well, I'm sorry, you're stuck that way. We help them to try to change that. Cancers. There are certain cancers that we know to be genetic. We don't say, well, you're genetically set for cancer, so we just are not going to do anything for you. We try to help people with diseases and with problems, whether they're genetically caused or environmentally caused. To state in any way equivocally because of somebody's DNA or because of their environmental factors, therefore they're now they can go ahead and abuse anybody they want to and say that that's okay in any way, shape, or form is just plain wrong. Nobody has the right to sexually assault or abuse anybody. What's worse in the interview is that Streisand goes on to explain that really the fault was the parents' fault. Now, would I agree that the parents showed poor judgment by allowing their children to sleep with a grown man or be in their room or be with them full time? Yeah, but let's take a look at it from the standpoint of people who are not of means, who get swept away in a lavish lifestyle with these gifts and this money. And you have a propensity to want to believe that the person that is bestowing the gifts upon you is coming from a good place. You feel in that moment blessed. Look, my child's going to be able to get things that I could not provide for them. From the parents' point of view, this was a great blessing that my child is right now with the biggest star on the planet right now. I don't believe there's anybody out there that says, wow, these parents gave their children to be sexually assaulted by Michael Jackson. Even for people who believe what happened in that way, I don't think they believe that the parents said, oh, we don't care that our children are being sexually assaulted. Sadly, we live in a world where actually that does happen, where there are parents who give their children over to other adults to be sexually assaulted. Sadly, I've dealt with cases of that. That is still never the child's fault. Barbra goes on to dig a deeper well when she says, well, the children, they grew up. They were great. They have now families of their own. See, that wasn't so much damage. I cannot stress how hurtful and disgusting that mindset and statements were, and how untrue it is. Any person that suffered a sexual assault has to go through a lot of recovery and pain to deal with. And it's not something that you just get rid of and shed. It's something you carry with you the rest of your life. Yes, there are ways to make it better. But like any scar, it doesn't go away. It's something that you carry. And for Barbara to say, well, it's not that big of a deal because they moved on and were able to get away with things or be able to do things in their life is just inappropriate. I am glad to hear that she has recanted on the ideas that she was trying to say, but sadly that came because of public pressure. I'm sorry that she said this to begin with. I work with a lot of people who have suffered what the claims that Michael Jackson did. The number one thing that happens with these people who have ever experienced it is self-blame. Whether they were a child or an adult, it doesn't matter. They always feel it's their fault. Somehow they should have stopped it. Somehow they should have done something. Even though they were felt in a powerless position, and even if they were a child, they still have a hard time with this. One of the techniques that has been shown to me to be effective is many times I'll ask somebody who's been sexually assaulted, how old were you when this happened? And they'll give me the age. And then I will say, do you know somebody of that age? Like somebody of that age now? And they say, and they normally tell me yes. And they say like there's a relative or somebody they know or somebody's child they know. And I said, if this was happening to them, would you be blaming that child the way you blame yourself? And more often than not, they go, absolutely not. So I say, then why do you blame yourself? And for a lot of people, it's an eye-opening experience because they see the rules for themselves differently than the rules for others. As I said, I'm very disturbed by Barbara's statements that she made publicly. The insensitivity to people who suffer with this is immense. It is never, ever the person's fault that abuse happened. It is never anybody's fault that you are raped. It is never your fault that you're molested. It's never your fault that you were attacked. It is not your fault. That is the aggressor's fault. And it's sad that we live in a society where people still have difficulty with understanding that concept. And it perpetuates a myth that is very damaging to people who suffer. If you like this video, please hit like. If you know somebody who's been experiencing this or had this conversation, please share this video with them. If you'd like to subscribe to this channel, please do. And if you would like to become a patron to this, hit the link underneath for Subcribe-star so you can go ahead and become a Patreon to support this endeavor. I thank you very much, and I hope this is helpful. Also, if you have a comment that you'd like to make, please make a comment. If you didn't like this video for whatever reason, please tell me why. And I hope you'll join me again next time for the next video as well. Thank you.